Welcome to the second in the Dialogue Project's podcasts, which we're calling 2 and 2 makes 5. This is a conversation between me, Karl James, and a very lovely man called Adrian. And Adrian and I spoke about his first experience of sex at the age of 42. So I want you to be aware of what this conversation is about. It's about a man who decides to have sex with an escort, and it's a graphic but a very beautifully specific conversation about what happened, and it's about intimacy, really. It's not about sex. So there's nothing pornographic in it at all. It's a very gentle, very tender conversation, actually. It's funny in parts. It's quite touching. And it's a lovely conversation. And Adrian is a lovely man. So enjoy. And it's called Prepared to Love. Thanks for listening.
What you're about to listen to is an edit created by the Dialogue Project, with the full permission of everyone involved in the conversation. If you can hear my voice clearly, the volume will be about right for you. Thank you for listening.
I think that I was a terribly tender and affectionate child. When I look at photographs of myself, just hearing from, my mum and my aunties and things, it just sounds like I was, and they are my recollections of what I was like.
There's a question I'm desperate to ask you about you as an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in a sexual relationship with somebody, that of course my question is, and are you also trying to retrieve or bring that tender child into that situation?
Totally. Most of my adult life has been without sex. It has only been within the last 6 months to a year that really I have had some substantial sexual satisfaction, and felt that I really have had a good quality sexual and intimate experience with somebody, and yet I've paid for it. When I was 42, that was when I had the first professional escort. I really wanted to have an experience of penetration, because I'd never had an experience of penetration, either being penetrated or penetrating somebody else.
Okay. Why was that important to you?
Because I thought, I'm in my 40s, and surely to goodness it should be something that as a gay man I get to experience, before I sort of shake off this mortal coil. And I was thinking, I'm 42, time's ticking on, do you know what I mean? But also I was very clear about giving myself a present, that it was my 42nd birthday. And I think that there was something about, this is the next thing to really look at. The fact that there is a big lack of sex in my life, and a big lack of intimacy, sexual intimacy. I was kind of quite calculated about it all,
So you booked someone for that?
And I did research. I went on the Gaydar website, and I, went to the professional escorts, of which there are hundreds and hundreds in London. I mean, it's an exhaustive list. And I went down them all, and they were all little thumbnail images, and so many of them were just of a throbbing bit of gristle.
Yeah.
And I wasn't interested. And I thought, oh, you know, nothing's left to the imagination, no mystery, you know. Wouldn't mind just seeing somebody's face, you know, or... And so eventually I came to one, and it was actually of somebody's kind of torso, and they were in a pair of Speedo swimming trunks.
Okay.
And I thought that was really sexy, you know, and left something to the imagination.
Even though actually what you were after was penetration.
Yeah.
Something you hadn't had.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
At the age of 42.
Yeah.
You didn't just want to see the thing that was going to be fucking you, or...
Yeah.
You still wanted a little bit of...
Yeah, a whole being.
Ah.
Do you know what I mean? It was about...
So you didn't just want cock.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Exactly. Well, I knew that I wanted kissing. I knew that that was going to be very, like, it was top of the agenda.
So
you know
then
what I
you
mean?
go to his list and...
So, and what made me also want to really click on him was he was called something Bellamy Boy. And Bellamy is an organisation in Europe of gay guys that do gay porn, calendars, magazines, all sorts of things. And they're usually pretty high quality. Because I thought, if I'm going to pay £500 or whatever the going rate is, I don't particularly want somebody that looks like the back end of a bus.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I do want somebody. And that was important to me. Although I also knew it wasn't the most important thing, but it was important. And yeah, Bellamy boys are usually pretty good looking, and you just get this, the way they're presented and everything, it's all about cleanliness, hygiene is important, you know, always when you see the fucking shots, you know, they really show that the condom is on and all that.
So can I ask you a question about all of those things? Different things there, aren't there? So how someone looks, how beautiful someone is, how clean they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the kissing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the, not just the gristle, but the presentation.
Yeah.
There's something left to the imagination.
Yeah.
What do all of those things, what are you really looking for? What is it that all of those things offer you that give you value against however much money you pay? What is it? Is it about you feeling special, or is it about you feeling that you deserve it, you know, because you deserve it?
Yeah. Yes, it is definitely about knowing that it was going to be a big investment in myself. Like, paying for this was going to be a big investment for myself. And I knew that it was about really deserving it. So therefore, I deserved top notch, you know.
And did you get it?
Yes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, totally. It was almost like out of a film. Like, it went so beautifully. It was my 42nd birthday. On that day, I had done a lot of work for the Great Eastern Hotel. It's a 5-star hotel, gorgeous, gorgeous hotel. And the creative director then, I wanted to book a room, and I told him exactly what I wanted the room for. And he said, listen, Adrian, you know, we've not been able to pay you for some of the stuff you've done here, so it's going to be our present to you. Wow. And I'll get you a gorgeous room with ensuite bathroom and what have you. And of course they did. And, you know, there were like presents in the room for me, you know, a little basket of goodies. And I think there was a bottle of champagne. But I left friends in the private members bar, because they'd kind of given me membership to the bar, and I had a load of friends, and I left them at something like 10 to midnight. You know, I went up that staircase, almost leaving a glass slipper, obviously, on one of the stairs, and got into the room. And the first thing I did, Karl, was I went in, because I knew I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to have a bath with him. And I had loads of night lights, and I immediately went in and put all these night lights around the bath and lit it and filled it with really hot water, because I knew he was coming, like, kind of at midnight. Filled it with bubble bath and everything.
Magical time, midnight.
Yeah. And he was on the dot, midnight, knocked on the door, and I opened the door, and I absolutely met his eyes. And I remember saying to myself, you've got it so right, Adrian, you've got it so right.
Oh, how lovely.
Because nothing was a disappointment. I mean, if anything, he superseded, you know, what I had seen from his pictures of himself, from talking to him on the phone, from him emailing me. He was just stunning and gorgeous, and just gorgeously behaved. I mean, like, in terms of his demeanor, in terms of his politeness, and it just gorgeous.
Can you imagine that, listening to this? So the beginning of this story was, well, I was 42 and I hadn't had penetrative sex, and now you're this Cinderella figure, leaving your glass slipper on the stairs of the Great Eastern Hotel and opening your door at midnight to this beautiful man.
Yeah.
It's one of the most romantic descriptions, with the candlelit bath. So, listening to this, it's like, did you really want to fuck someone up the arse, or to be fucked up the arse? Was that really what was going on here? Because everything, your voice is so alive when you describe the romance.
Yeah.
But what's the connection between these things? That's what I'm...
Absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right. And actually, getting fucked up the arse, because he did fuck me up the arse, and he offered it to me, was such an unimportant part of the whole night by comparison. And in actual fact, I didn't like it at all. Okay. I mean, I found it really painful, you know, and also when he first put it up, I mean, he was so polite about, you know, would you like this? Would you like me to do this? And I did say, I said, oh, go on then. I said, because, you know, I ought to kind of experience it once in my life, oughtn't I? And he said, it's not for everyone. Not everybody enjoys it. I said, oh, go on, stick it in. And he did. And immediately went, take it out. Like, the pain, but also because I thought, I'm going to shit myself. And apparently that's very common, because it's like the dick is kind of pressing on your prostate or something. So it makes you feel like you're going to have a shit. And so I immediately rushed to the loo, thinking I was going to have this big old crap. Yeah. And actually I produced a revel. Do you know what I mean? And then sort of, you know, washed my arse and this, that and the other. Got back into bed, and he said, would you like me to try again? And I thought, oh, you know, yes, go on, you know, do it. I ought to just go through it once.
This is what you're saying. I ought to.
I know.
There's no I want to.
No, absolutely. And again, he did. Why
were you saying yes? I ought to.
I think it's because I thought, I'm a gay man. I should be able to do this.
I want to go downstairs tomorrow morning and say I took it up the arse.
I took it up the arse. Do you know what I mean? Can you now give me my medal? I am now a fully fledged gay man. I took it up the arse. No, it was really, really painful and uncomfortable. And as he was doing it, I was going, oh God. And of course he could hear me go, oh no. And he said, you're not enjoying this, are you? And I said, no, I'm not. He said, we don't have to go through with it. I went, oh, thank God.
And was it about that way around? Did you want to fuck him?
The interesting thing is, it never crossed my mind. It never crossed my mind. Do you know, Carl, the thing that I loved the most about the whole night was having the bath with him and washing his hair.
Washing his hair.
Yeah. It was beautiful. And it was, I'm gonna cry now. It was a very beautiful thing because he let me wash his hair. And it was erotic. You know, it was charged. But I was just washing his hair.
Why? What's so beautiful about washing his hair? Or what was so important about it?
I think it was the tenderness. I think it was that level of, somebody letting me care for them and surrendering to it. It was just really, really gorgeous to do that. And I think that is the thing that is such a vivid and gorgeous memory for me. Us sharing that bath and me washing his hair for him. And how very charged, I felt that was.
For both of you? Was that a mutual thing, or was it?
I think it was in the sense that I think that he generously gave himself to it happening. And I think he realised how much pleasure it gave me. So I think him really giving himself to that was him meeting me.
How did he give himself to you? What could you say it was so charged?
Yeah.
Where was that charge? Was he talking to you as you washed his hair?
No, he wasn't talking to me.
How would I have noticed if I'd been like,
Well, one of the things was he was facing me in the bath. So we were sat facing each other. And I think it was so much to do with, he had a beautiful face anyway. There was something quite angelic about him. And I remember sort of holding his face and looking into his eyes. And then kind of washing his hair. And I think holding it again. It was... It's
so you weren't kissing, you weren't touching his cock. There was no... You were just washing his hair. That's all. Holding his face. It's all because it's so interesting.
I think that I was kissing like his eyelids and things like that. I don't think that we were actually having like a kind of open mouth kiss. But I now I'm thinking about it, I recall the kind of almost like butterfly kissing of his eyelids and but him just allowing me to do that. And yeah, it's so sort of not, what you kind of associate with, a professional escort, What am I trying to say? I suppose I'm trying to say that he just really understood about giving himself to me. And I found that very, very touching.
So did you see him again?
No. And
why not?
And of course I fell a little bit in love with him.
I was going to say it sounds a little bit like love.
Yeah. I did, and I loved waking up with him. I loved the fact that there was, that whole thing about just feeling his warmth next to me, and we just had the most gorgeous kind of breakfast time together. Like, room service wheeled in this whole continental breakfast because the creative director had sorted all this out for me. And we sat in our big chunky toweling dressing gowns, having continental breakfast. And I just thought, I don't want you to go.
How did you say goodbye to him?
Well, I think I had to be sort of quite pragmatic, because I realised that it wasn't a one-night thing. But I was aware that as we were sat there, and we were even like reading newspapers, Sunday papers, I thought, this is what it's like to be in a relationship with someone. This is the real glimpse of what it could be like to be in a relationship and in love with somebody. And yet I knew he was going, within half an hour or whatever. And what I do remember when he said goodbye was he did say, "You're an absolutely fantastic human being." He said, "You really are." And he said, "I've had such a lovely night with you." And I said, "I can't even begin to put into words, what it's meant to me, and how amazingly generous you've been." And, I loved it. The whole night, I loved it. And what I did do was, about 3 hours later, I was walking around the Barbican, absolutely, like, with this huge smile on my face.
Really?
I was the cat that had got the cream,
So you didn't sob and sob?
No. I felt so... I felt so empowered, actually. I felt so like, God, I have done something amazing. I feel just fantastic. What I couldn't resist doing was texting him. I texted him to say thank you so much for that incredible night, and you know, you were just so generous and so giving and stuff. And he texted me back and he said it was so easy to do because you were just such a gorgeous person. And then that was it. We never had contact with each other again. From that day to this. Because I also gave myself a bit of a talking to, you know.
About what?
Well, that I thought...
That you might fall in love with him.
Yeah, and that he's
wanted to be your boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And that he is a professional male escort, you know, and he did a fantastic job.
Do you ever torture yourself with thoughts of him doing the same with other people?
No.
But you know he does.
Yeah.
But I suppose you'd like to think it's not the same.
Yeah, I would. I really think that the bottom line is about believing that I deserve it. That I really deserve to be with somebody gorgeous and loving and giving and generous and, you know, will meet me. I think that is what the bottom line is for me. I need to really, really own that I deserve it. A guy who, again, I was in a kind of torturous, unrequited love situation with, his sister told me that anyone would be so proud to have my love. And I remember when she said it to me, I couldn't really hear it, didn't really own it. But now, when I think about that, I think, yes, they should do. Yes, they should be. Because I'm so prepared to love.
Let's stop there for now, shall we?
Yes.
Thank you.
My absolute pleasure.
So look, I have to ask you this question.
Yes. Am I gay?
Do you think you might be gay? Is it something you've ever considered?